terrorism in Pakistan, and its proxies were fully operationalized during this time to distract our attention. Pakistan armed forces are resilient, and simultaneously with the conduct of Operation Bunyanum Marsoos, we carried out most effective counter-terrorism operations in the western region without any pause. Operation Bunyanum Marsoos has been a great example of coming together of all elements of national power with overwhelming support of Pakistani public to effectively counter the threat to our national sovereignty and integrity and the threat to our great motherland. No one should have any doubt that whenever our sovereignty would be threatened and territorial integrity violated, the response would be comprehensive, retributive, and decisive. Pakistan Armed Forces thank and salute the Pakistani nation for its courage, resilience, and national fervor during this conflict. Let me finish with the Quranic verse from the Surah Anfal. وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكِرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. Pakistan Zindabad, Afwaj Pakistan Paindabad. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will read out this statement in Urdu for our citizens of Pakistan in general. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. آج میں آپ کو پاکستان کی مسلح افواج کے آپریشن بنیانم مرسوس کی کارروائی اور اس کے نتائج سے آگاہ کرنا چاہتا ہوں، جو بھارت کی بزدلانہ فوجی جارحیت کے جواب میں کیا گیا۔ یہ حملے 6 اور 7 مئی 2025 کی درمیانی شب شروع ہوئے، جن کے نتیجے میں معصوم شہری، جن میں خواتین، بچے اور بزرگ شامل تھے، شہید ہوئے۔ پاکستان نے بھارتی جارحیت اور ہمارے شہریوں کے بےہمانہ قتل پر انصاف اور انتقام کا وعدہ کیا تھا۔ الحمدللہ پاکستان کی مسلح افواج نے یہ وعدہ پورا کیا۔ میں سب سے پہلے رب ذوالجلال کا شکر ادا کرتا ہوں جس کی بے پایاں رحمت، نصرت اور مدد ہمارے ساتھ رہی۔ اللہ تعالیٰ نے مومنوں کو حکم دیا ہے کہ جب ان پر ظلم ہو تو وہ جواب دیں۔ ہم اللہ کے حضور سجدہ ریز ہوتے ہیں کہ اس نے ہمیں اپنی عزم کو فیصلہ کن عمل میں ڈھالنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائی۔ ہمارے دل اور دعائیں ان شہداء کے خاندانوں کے ساتھ ہیں جنہوں نے اپنی جانیں مادر وطن پر قربان کر دیں۔ ہم زخمیوں کی جلد صحت یابی کے لیے بھی دعاگو ہیں۔ ہم پاکستان کی مسلح افواج کے ہر آفیسر، سپاہی، ایئر مین اور سیلر کے بے حد مشکور ہیں، جنہوں نے اپنی جرت، پیشہ ورانہ مہارت اور قربانی سے میدان جنگ میں کامیابی کو ممکن بنایا۔ ہم پاکستان کی مسلح افواج پوری قوم، خصوصاً نوجوانوں کے جذبے، حوصلے اور بھرپور حمایت پر دل کی گہرائیوں سے شکر گزار ہیں، جنہوں نے مشکل ترین وقت میں ہمارے حوصلے کو کئی گنا بڑھایا۔ ہم پاکستان کے ان نوجوانوں کے بھی مقروض ہیں جو سائبر اور انفارمیشن کے محاذ پر صف اول کے سپاہی بنے۔ ہم پاکستان کے متحرک اور بہادر میڈیا کے بھی شکر گزار ہیں، جنہوں نے بھارت کے پروپیگنڈا اور جنگی جنون کے خلاف بنیانوں مرسوس یعنی ایک آہنی دیوار کی طرح کھڑے ہوئے۔ ہم بلا تفریق تمام سیاسی جماعتوں کی قیادت کے بھی ممنون ہیں، جنہوں نے سیاسی اختلافات سے بالا تر ہو کر وطن کے دفاع میں متحد ہو کر افواج پاکستان کے شانہ بشانہ کھڑے ہونے کا بہترین مظاہرہ کیا۔ مسلح افواج بالخصوص پاکستان کے وزیر اعظم اور ان کی کابینہ کی قائدانہ صلاحیتوں اور جرأتمندانہ فیصلوں کی بھی قدردان ہیں، جنہوں نے ملک کو اس نازک موڑ پر درست سمت میں رہنمائی فراہم کی۔ خواتین و حضرات، اب میں آپ کو آپریشن بنیان مرصوص کی تفصیلات سے آگاہ کروں گا۔ پاکستان کا جواب ایک نصابی نمونہ تھا، جس میں تینوں افواج کی مکمل ہم آہنگی کے ساتھ حقیقی وقت پر صورتحال کی آگاہی، نیٹ ورک سینٹرک وارفیئر اور ملٹی ڈومین آپریشنز کی مکمل صلاحیت بروئے کار لائی گئی۔ زمین، فضا، سمندر اور سائبر سپیس میں مکمل ہم آہنگی سے اہم اہداف کو تباہ کیا گیا۔ پاکستان فوج کے F-1 اور F-2 دور مار کرنے والے میزائل، پاک فضائیہ کے جدید پریسائز منیشن، طویل فاصلے تک مار کرنے والے لوئٹرنگ ایمونیشن اور جدید پریسائز آرٹلری کے ذریعے بھارت کے 26 اہم فوجی اہداف کو نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ وہ تنصیبات جو پاکستانی شہریوں کو نشانہ بنانے کے لیے استعمال ہوئیں، اور وہ تنصیبات جو پاکستان میں دہشت گردی کو فروغ دینے میں استعمال ہوتی ہیں، اور ان تنصیبات کو نہ صرف بھارتی غیر قانونی زیر تسلط جموں و کشمیر میں بلکہ بھارت کے اندر بھی نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ نشانہ بنانے والے فضائی اور ہوائی اڈوں میں ایئر فورس اور ایویشن بیسز سورت گڑھ، سرسا، بھج، نالیا، آدم پور، بھٹنڈا، برنالہ، ہلواڑہ، اونتی پورہ، سری نگر، جموں، ادھم پور، مامون، امبالہ اور پٹھان کوٹ شامل تھے۔ بیاس اور نگروٹا میں موجود براموس میزائل کے ذخائر جو پاکستانی شہریوں پر حملوں میں استعمال ہوئے، ان کو تباہ کیا گیا۔ S-400 ایئر ڈیفنس سسٹم کو پاک فضائیہ نے بوجھ اور آدم پور میں نشانہ بنایا۔ اڑی میں فیلڈ سپلائی ڈیپو اور پونچھ میں ریڈار سٹیشن جیسے لاجسٹک اور سپورٹ مراکز کو بھی نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ کے جی ٹاپ اور نوشہرہ میں موجود 10 بریگیڈ اور 80 بریگیڈ کی کمانڈ تنصیبات کو بھی تباہ کیا گیا۔ یہ وہ تنصیبات ہیں جہاں سے بلا اشتعال فائرنگ کر کے معصوم بچوں اور عورتوں کو نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ راجوڑی اور نوشہرہ میں موجود ملٹری انٹیلیجنس کی یونٹیں اور ان کے فیلڈ عناصر جو پاکستان میں دہشت گردی میں ملوث پراکسیز کو سپورٹ دیتے تھے، ان کو بھی ختم کیا گیا۔ لائن آف کنٹرول کے پار وہ تمام آرٹلری، لاجسٹک اور پوسٹیں جو آزاد جموں اینڈ کشمیر میں سولینز پر فائرنگ کرتی تھیں، ان پر شدید اور مسلسل جوابی کارروائی کی گئی، یہاں تک کہ انہوں نے سفید جھنڈے اٹھا لیے۔ بھارت نے ڈرونز کے ذریعے پاکستانی فضا کی خلاف ورزی کی تاکہ عوام میں خوف پھیلایا جا سکے اور ان کو ہراساں کیا جا سکے۔ اس کے رد عمل میں آپریشن بنیان و مرصوص کے دوران پاکستان کی مسلح ڈرونز بھارت کے بڑے شہروں انکلوڈنگ دارالحکومت نیو دہلی اور انلیگلی آکوپائڈ جموں اینڈ کشمیر سے لے کر گجرات تک مسلسل پرواز کرتے رہے، تاکہ پاکستان کی صلاحیت کا نہ صرف اظہار کیا جا سکے اور بلکہ یہ بتایا جا سکے کہ اس ڈرونز کے ڈومین کا موجودہ وارفیئر میں کوئی فائدہ نہیں۔ پاکستانی فوج نے بھرپور سائبر حملے بھی کیے، جن کے نتیجے میں ان بھارتی اہم مواصلاتی اور انفراسٹرکچر نظام کو مفلوج کیا گیا جو کہ بھارتی افواج کے استعمال کر رہی تھی۔ یہ یاد رہے کہ پاکستانی افواج کے پاس ایسی کئی جدید جنگی صلاحیتیں موجود ہیں جن کا کچھ کا استعمال اس تنازع میں محدود سطح پر کیا گیا، اور کئی صلاحیتیں آئندہ کے لیے محفوظ رکھی گئی ہیں۔ ان سب اقدامات کے باوجود میں واضح کرنا چاہتا ہوں کہ بھارت کی مسلسل اشتعال انگیزی کے مقابلے میں پاکستان کا رد عمل نہایت درست، متوازن اور محدود نوعیت کا رہا۔ ہر ہدف جو ہمارے معصوم شہریوں کے قتل یا پاکستان میں دہشت گردی میں براہ راست ملوث تھا، ان کو احتیاط سے نہ صرف منتخب کیا گیا بلکہ انشور کیا گیا کہ عام شہری متاثر نہ ہوں۔ ہم یہ بھی واضح کرنا چاہتے ہیں کہ جب مشرقی سرحد پر افواج پاکستان دفاع میں مصروف تھیں تو خیبر پختونخوا اور بلوچستان میں بھارتی سرپرستی میں دہشت گردی میں غیر معمولی اضافہ ہوا، جو اس بات کا دوبارہ ایک ناقابل تردید ثبوت ہے کہ بھارت پاکستان میں دہشت گردی کو اپنی پراکسیز کے ذریعے فروغ دے رہا ہے۔ تاہم افواج پاکستان نے مغربی محاذ پر بھی انسداد دہشت گردی آپریشنز کو بغیر کسی وقفے کے کامیابی سے جاری رکھا۔ خواتین و حضرات، آپریشن بنیان و مرصوص ایک ایسی شاندار مثال ہے جہاں قوم کی تمام طاقتیں متحد ہوئیں اور متحد ہو کر مادر وطن کے تحفظ کے لیے کھڑی ہو گئیں۔ کسی کو بھی کوئی شک نہیں ہونا چاہیے کہ جب کبھی ہماری خود مختاری یا سرحدوں کی خلاف ورزی کی گئی، ہمارا رد عمل جامع، جوابی اور فیصلہ کن ہوگا۔ افواج پاکستان پاکستانی قوم کو اس کے حوصلے، عزم اور حب الوطنی پر سلام پیش کرتی ہے۔ اور آخر میں سورہ انفال کی ان آیات پر ختم کرنا چاہوں گا، وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ۔ وہ تو اپنی تدبیریں کر رہے تھے اور اللہ اپنی تدبیر کر رہا تھا، اور وہ سب سے مستحکم تدبیر کرنے والا ہے۔ پاکستان زندہ باد، افواج پاکستان پائندہ باد۔ اب میں آپ کو اس آپریشن کی مزید جزیات سے آگاہ کرنے کے لیے آپ کی توجہ اسکرین کی جانب مقبول کرانا چاہوں گا۔
کم من فیۃ قلیلۃ غلبت فیۃ کثیرۃ باذن اللہ۔ And the translation reads, how many times it happened that a smaller force vanquished a bigger force by the will of Allah. History has proven that the complete nation and its armed forces have always stood together with all their might against any act of aggression. Alhamdulillah, we have the will, capacity and capability to protect our sovereignty and territorial integrity, and we are all well aware of the ways and means to do it. Our forefathers, they have sacrificed immensely, and we have sacrificed a lot for the creation of this country, and we know how to defend it. If this great Pakistani nation and the Pakistani armed forces, if 1.3 million Indian army with all their wherewithal, if they cannot intimidate us and they cannot coerce us, these terrorists can subdue the armed forces of Pakistan.
ہم صرف یہ کہنا چاہتے ہیں کہ نہ ہم تمہاری طاقت، نہ تمہاری مکاری اور تمہاری جارحیت سے مروب ہونے والی قوم ہے۔ Now you just wait for our response.
Bismillah ar-Rahman. Today on 10th May at the time of Fajr, we have given a strong front to our enemies. Alhamdulillah. Nare Allahu Akbar.
Today is 10th May 2025 and this is a smashing response to a coward enemy, and it will inshallah continue. Nare Allahu Akbar.
Next slide. If you remember, the armed forces of Pakistan promised you three things. We told you that we will give a befitting response to Indian aggression. We told you and we told the nation that, however, this response will be at the time, place, and method of our own choosing. And we also told the nation that when we will hit the Indians, the entire world will come to know. And we also told that you will not require the Indian media to report to you the phantom strikes that they said that Pakistan is taking place. Didn't we tell you all these three things? We told you. And we also told you that as these armed forces say, we ardently love to embrace Shahadat far more than you fear death. So gentlemen, this is how it culminated. Now I will show you another clip which will tell you the story.
Pakistan says the country has launched a retaliatory military operation against India. Operation Bunyan ul Marsus, which translates to a firm wall of lead, is targeting military facilities in India.
We have seen this pattern of strikes in the morning, then retaliatory strikes at night. It is hard to imagine from this moment where I stand that New Delhi won't want to respond.
Pakistan's army said an eye for an eye. It's claimed that the counter-offensive is ongoing and that it's targeting air bases in India from which missiles had been launched.
Just after the morning prayers, there were series of loud explosions were heard across Jammu and Kashmir, including Uri, Nagota, Jammu, Udhampur, as well as the major cities of Srinagar and Jammu.
Pakistan decided to launch a massive retaliation that included fixed-wing aircraft as well as drones and also cyber attacks.
They hit 8 air bases inside of India and Indian-controlled Kashmir. Important distinction, these are India proper as well as in Indian-controlled Kashmir. And those air bases, one of them they say that they've hit a sophisticated air defense system, and another one that they say that they've taken out a missile storage tank.
Pakistan's military says the strikes are in retaliation for what it calls Indian aggression. Islamabad claims it has hit multiple military targets near the line of control.
Pakistan responded with a relentless, a massive barrage of missiles and rockets, they say, Pakistan says, into Indian military facilities, bases inside India, air bases, weapons storage, and along that disputed line of control in Kashmir against military bases there. They say that this, from the Pakistan perspective, their communications, how they were communicating with Secretary Rubio, that really put India on the back foot. It didn't know what had happened. India, according to Pakistan, reached out to Secretary Rubio, reached out to the Saudis, reached out to the Turks, reached out to others to find a diplomatic off-ramp, got engaged after that onslaught in diplomacy, but telling the mediators that they were going to go on a pause on the Indian side.
घबराहट एक तो लोगों की नजर आ रही है क्योंकि तमाम एयरबेस ध्वस्त होते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं, आग के गोले में बदले हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। सबसे ज्यादा जो चर्चा है वो ये कि जब आप अपने एयरबेस को नहीं बचा सकते तो जनता को क्या बचाएंगे।
बड़ी खबर निकल के सामने आ रही है, पठानकोट एयरबेस ते हमला होया है। जी हां दादी के पठानकोट एयरबेस ते हमला होया, दूसरे पासे जम्मू एयरबेस ते हमला होया।
ये पाकिस्तान की साइड से है, देखिएगा। अब हमें आवाज से ही पता लग जाता है, जो सीटी बजाता हुआ तेजी से आता है और हमारे करीब जोरदार आवाज के साथ फटता है, वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से फेंका गया, पुंछ पर फेंका गया।
देखिए उन्होंने जो किया है पठानकोट, पठान हमारा आगे का, आगे जिसको हम कहें एडवांस एयरबेस है, बहुत है। उन्होंने उधमपुर में किया है, ये किया है श्रीनगर के पास में किया है, अवंतीपुर में।
सिरसा को आपने बताया एयरबेस है वहां पर, उसको उसने टारगेट किया है, और तो वो ड्रोन्स के साथ साथ अपनी बड़ी मिसाइल भी दाग रहा था।
पूरी तरह से धमाकों की जो आवाजें हैं वो राजौरी, पुंछ के साथ साथ जम्मू के अलग अलग इलाकों में यहाँ पर सुनाई दे रही हैं।
पाकिस्तान बिल्कुल आखिर में ये इस्तेमाल करेगा और पाकिस्तान को शुरू में ही इस्तेमाल कर रहा है।
और भी बहुत सारे
सारे मिसाइलों का जखीरा है और इससे भी ज्यादा कारगर मिसाइल है.
The attacks that have been coming in from the Pakistani forces, we saw how they lit up the entire border area all the way from the north in Kupwara, in Uri, where the ceasefire violations were taking place. Then we saw the drone strikes which were taking place in the Jammu area, all the way down to Bhuj. There were several attacks coming in from the Pakistan side, several drone strikes which were coming in from the Pakistan side.
So again remember and see that didn't the whole world hear and report? Because that's what we promised. Your armed forces promised and delivered that. Now I would like to draw your attention to the next clip, that how the Indian Ministry of Defence itself reported this.
Pakistan military continued with its provocations, carrying out aggressive actions employing multiple threat vectors all along the western border. Pakistan employed UCAV, drones, long-range weapons, loitering munitions and fighter aircrafts to target military infrastructure. Pakistan military also resorted to air intrusions using drones and firing of heavy caliber weapons along the line of control. Air intrusions and several harassment attacks were also attempted from Srinagar till Nalia at more than 26 locations. Damage was sustained to equipment and personnel at Indian Air Force stations at Udhampur, Pathankot, Adhampur and Bhuj. There were also several high-speed missile attacks noticed with heavy damages to other military stations in Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Rajouri and Akhnur sectors continued. Indian Armed Forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation provided it is reciprocated by the Pakistan military.
भारतीय सशस्त्र बल दोहराते हैं कि वे तनाव वृद्धि नहीं चाहते, बशर्ते पाकिस्तान भी ऐसा ही व्यवहार करे.
So did you find even there from the Indian statements that did Pakistan attack anything other than military targets? No. Did any international media, even Indian media, what are they reporting? Precise targeting of the military installations, posts. We told you that we don't target civilians. Our religion does not allow us. Our culture does not allow us. Our professionalism of these armed forces doesn't allow us. That we will never target civilians. So they are even acknowledging that. And they are also saying that once they received the message, once they got the message, then who asked for non-escalation? Who requested that they want non-escalation, that the things should go down? So it's for all to see. So now I will request first Vice Admiral Rab Nawaz to give you a short brief on the naval operations that were part of the Operation Bunyanu Marsoos, followed by Air Vice Marshal Aurangzeb on the air operations. And after that, we will take your questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll very briefly talk about the role of Pakistan Navy in the defense of Pakistan during this particular crisis. And by the grace of Almighty Allah and with Almighty's help, we were able to defend Pakistan's sea frontiers and deter an enemy which is numerically superior. We kept the enemy at bay, and I'll just briefly talk about how we executed our operations. So essentially, protection of Pakistan's maritime interests and seaworld defense, that is the task of the Navy. And Alhamdulillah, with the help of Almighty Allah, we were able to do that. On any given day of the year, we maintain perpetual readiness. And what that means is that our ships and submarines, they are stocked up, all the military logistics are stocked up. And for us, the transition from peace to war is not only swift, it's almost invisible. And when this false flag thing happened in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, we immediately mobilized and we completed the operational deployments of Pakistani Navy fleet units and also the coastal command units in matter of hours. our submarines, our ships and aircraft, they were at in their respective areas where they were supposed to be, and we were ready to thwart any aggression from the sea. And go on to the next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, maritime domain awareness, that is essentially to know what is happening in your area of interest. That is critical for the naval operations. And I'll just briefly talk about that, because to generate any response, you need to be aware of, the happening in your area of responsibility. And we were maintaining 24/7 vigil at sea. And okay. A couple of days back, there was a hype, you heard about INS Vikrant approaching Karachi, and I'll just briefly tell you that we were keeping a very close eye on the activities at sea. And this is essentially the Indian Navy surface disposition throughout these days. They had a couple of ships in this particular area, they were moving around in this area, and there was a ship off Salala, which was operating over there. And this is the much talked about the Indian carrier. We were monitoring it right from the day one. On 30th of April, it was here, then it moved up here. Subsequently, it moved up here. And on the night of 6th and 7th May, it was back, close to Ratnagiri, very close to Mumbai. And then on 9th May, it was here, essentially 400 nautical miles away from Pakistani coast. And again, then it retreated back close to Mumbai. So we were keeping a very close track on this particular carrier movement, and there was no cause of concern at any time. If the carrier comes closer to 400 nautical miles and even closer, that essentially simplifies our problem. So we were the Pakistan Navy Maritime Air Arm, in coordination with the strike component of Pakistan Air Force. They were cockpit ready to generate any kind of response at that time, at all times. And I was in constant communication with the Deputy Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Aurangzeb, at all times, and we were just ready. If there is any aggression from the sea, we were there to respond effectively. And let me say another thing. That is, you know about the carriers, you have seen them in the movies, but as a professional military officer, I don't want to underestimate the enemy, but let's put the things in the right perspective. The INS Vikrant and the carrier, the Western carrier, there's a huge difference. This is an aircraft carrier which essentially served with 8 to 12 MiG-29s, which was barely essential to carry out its own air defense. The purpose of the carrier is power projection and to ensure air superiority in a given sea area. So with this, less said the better. This is simply not possible, and the Indian Navy exactly knew this, and that is precisely why on the 9th of 6th and 7th, when they carried out this cowardly attack on the civilians, they moved this carrier to the safety of their own coast, well away from Pakistan's strike capability, close to this Ratnagiri area. And again, on the night of 9th and 10th, it was moved very close to the Mumbai. It was essentially 17 to 20 nautical miles off Mumbai. But we were keeping a track. We were fully aware of their movements in this area, and we were always ready to generate a response in coordination with the Air Force, especially in case of the aircraft carrier. Subsurface elements, the offensive element, they were offensively deployed. They were in their respective areas and ready to generate a response. And also, you might have seen this footage. We were not only in the surface domain, but we were essentially effectively monitoring their air surveillance things. And because of the operation security reason, I'll not talk much about how we did that, but we were keeping an eye on this particular activity as well. And likewise, in the subsurface domain, our anti-submarine warfare vigilance was all-time high. We were monitoring the movement of their submarines when they left their shores, and we exactly, had an idea where they would be, and we had our ASW surveillance and suppression effectively going on at all times. Likewise, Another component of Pakistan Navy's responsibility is the defense of the Creek area. We had our coastal command units deployed over there in close coordination with headquarters 5 core elements, Pakistan Army elements, and they were poised to defend this particular area in case of any aggression from the south. Another important component is the protection of ports and harbors. You have just heard the DG ISPR talked about the subconventional threat that we witnessed. There was a surge in other part of the country, and we were, there were real-time apprehension that there may be a surge. So we ensured the protection of all ports and harbors of Pakistan, and coastal command elements, they effectively played a very, very important role in this. And just to mention that on the night of 6 and 7, when they carried out the attack on Pakistan, we were fully ready to respond to any aggression from the sea. We were just ready, and but the enemy chose not to come over. It was essentially not a matter of choice. I would say it was a matter of compulsion, because enemy fully understood the cost it would have incurred had it ventured from the sea. And likewise, वापस जाइएगा, go back please, go back. And a few words about the missile threat that you have talked about. You must have heard the enemy missile attack. We were keeping a very close eye on enemy deployment in this area, from where they can potentially launch a missile threat towards Karachi. We were fully aware, and we had our response ready to in that eventuality. And go on to the next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, all operations, whatever we do in the military domain, they are to create certain effects. We look for the effects, and the effect that we created, we were able to resolutely, with our posture, we were able to deter the Indian Navy despite its numerical superiority. Number of times have more assets and more forces, and with an annual budget of like $13 billion. So Pakistan Navy, with its potential, with its posture, with its capability, was effectively able to deter the Indian Navy from doing any venture from the sea, alhamdulillah. And that is very, very important. We
will not go back. So that's a promise also that we kept. So now we can start with the question and answer. And before that, we again first bow our heads in humility to Almighty Allah for giving us this great success, and the people of Pakistan for the support that was with the armed forces. And the armed forces and the people of Pakistan were one body again. They worked together for thwarting this threat against this motherland. So we can have the first question.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This is Sumaira Khan from Sama Television. And first of all, let me convey the pulse of the nation as well. They cannot reach you in person, every one of them, but the heart of felicitation is indeed with you from the masses of Pakistan, specifically youth, you mentioned very rightly. My question is, in that whole span of escalation, the Indian government had been issuing extremely provocative statements regarding initiation of war, and not just the government, but unfortunately their media was also, to me it seemed very war frenzy. And but in that whole time, in the meanwhile, I saw Pakistani side, and I saw you very defensively responding to all the hegemony and Indian aggression. So I just wanted to know that it was part of your strategy. What was that? Or you never wanted that escalation to rise to all those levels? And a quick comment from Aurangzeb as well, that the multi-domain, how would you elaborate it? How did you incur it in the PF strategy to kill the Indian side in the battlefield? Thank you.
So as far as question to the escalation is concerned, let me say it. The reality is that in a conflict which is between two rival nuclear powers, such a conflict is actually an absurdity, and it is inconceivable and sheer stupidity. Why? Because that conflict can lead, in the case of Indo-Pakistan, India-Pakistan, can lead to the peril of more than 1.6 billion people. So, in reality, there is no space for war between India and Pakistan. And if anyone wants to carve out this space for war, he is actually carving out space for mutual annihilation. So that is why you saw that in this conflict, Pakistan acted in a very mature manner. And through conventional forces, we maintained escalation control. Through conventional forces, we gave them a two-notch up response, while also ensuring that these forces, the Pakistan Army and the other forces that were employed on the Western Front, on the counter-terrorism operations, no pull is also exerted on them. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, you just asked regarding the multi-domain operations. It's a very good question, because this is the buzzword nowadays. But it's not actually something in air. It's a actual real milestone for PEF. The warfare has changed drastically, and so has everything that is associated with it. It's not the erstwhile concept where you can just get the number of aircraft in air and see. It's called a new AMSO, the electromagnetic spectrum operations. It's a whole new environment that is there. And everything that is regarding Air Force and in the air, it's concerning the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, air supremacy has to be preceded by a spectrum supremacy. And if you control the spectrum, you control the conflict. So Pakistan Air Force, and especially this is a thing that is pursued so vigorously by Chief of the Air Staff, that we have to have that spectrum warfare capability. And you saw how we manifested it. It is a combination of EW, space, cyber, air, land, and sea, command, control, communication, infrastructure, information. All these things, they are in the wider spectrum of electromagnetic operations. And that is how you create an environment. You create a EW web that you manifest in the whole operations. It has to be choreographed at each step, and when to administer what. And it has to be preconceived. I mean, you can't do it randomly, and you cannot just do it on your whims. So you have to understand the whole idea and whole architecture. It might get pretty technical, but multi-domain operations is the need of the day, and all those air forces who kind of relegate it, they end up in the wrong side of the barrel. So Pakistan Air Force prioritizes it. We have our own Spectrum Warfare Operations Center, which is controlling the even in a small battle or an engagement to a larger campaign. Because now all the players who are there, all aircraft, they have so much of sensors, and there's so much of fusion going on, the data links, the software defined radars, they're all thriving on the electromagnetic spectrum, or being challenged by it. So each player is taking a campaign level decision, the kind of information he is having, and if he doesn't get that information, he is redundant. So electromagnetic warfare is the need of the hour, and multi-domain operations is what carries you, propels you to perform and achieve the mission success with mission survivability. denying the same to the enemy. Thank you.
My name is Kiran. I'm from the Khorasan Diary. Sir, I have two questions on what basically I need confirmation. Is that one, when President Trump tweeted about the ceasefire, they said that Pakistan and India can talk in a third country. और अभी जो शाम में इंडियन अथॉरिटीज़ की मीटिंग प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई है, they said that the DGMOs spoke in which Pakistani DGMO asked for ceasefire first. And tomorrow there is a call already planned at 1200. Meanwhile, the IAF said that their operation is still continued. So what is Pakistan's strategy tomorrow when the two DGMOs are going to talk? And the second thing is that as international media also reported that Pakistan has Indian pilot in the custody. So do we have Indian pilot in our custody? And if we have, are we going to return her or him?
So I can confirm you very clearly, we don't have any pilot in custody. This is all social media chatter. This is all part of the multiple source of fake news and propaganda that keeps on, that has been generated from multiple sources. As far as your first question is concerned, let me say it very clearly and put it on record. Pakistan never requested. The fact of the matter is that